you on this bigger screen. And yet we are live on YouTube saying hello to our friends. I'm here with the lovely Lois. By the way, Lois, please tell me how to pronounce your name properly before I actually start the recording for Spotify.
So it's Lois, 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 Lois.
Lois. And
Yep.
should I mention your family name or?
Make your life easy. Don't. You don't need to. Just Lois from Fitness Knocking. That's good. Most people that I know for probably 8, 9 years that have known me in this industry, a lot of people, unless I'm doing something like this, they're like, what's your last name? You're always like Lois from Fitness Knocking. I'm like, yeah, because my last name is hard to pronounce.
Oh my goodness. Okay, thank you for that. I would have made all the efforts to make sure I say it right because it's important. I mean, it's your name, right? So people need to know it properly. Okay, so we have YouTube working properly and going on Instagram. Okay, good. Checking the connection. Yes, and we are live on Instagram. Hello to everyone here as well. You can see the wonderful Lois from Fitness Knocking. She's so kind that she told me not to pronounce her name, her family name, which is a rather complicated name. So thank you for that. You're making our Monday so sweet and kind. Now, Louis, if that's okay with you, we can start the actual recording in a few seconds. Are you all set? Wonderful.
Yeah, ready to go.
Okay. Okay. We are starting the actual polished Spotify recording in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 43 Fitness Knocking with Louis. Louis believes one's total health and wellness is achieved through a variety of modalities. They include a comprehensive balance of behavior, physical and personal modifications, and an emotional, social awareness of finding and building upon personal strengths. Lewis has experience in helping individuals achieve their fitness goals, whether they are deconditioned, overwhelmed parents, adolescents, or just beginning or revisiting their journey to health after a long hiatus. Fitness Knocking's mission is to help people gain a better sense of their future self by providing a traveling and online fitness service that makes it easier for people to lead happier, healthier, longer, and more fun, productive lives. Louis, this is awesome. And as I told you before, I think it's genius how you get to make fitness so accessible. You bring fitness and health to people's doors. Welcome. And it's so wonderful to have you here with us today.
Thank you, Roxy. So great to be here. Very excited to chat with you and your followers. And hopefully, I'll shed some light on some things and give everybody a couple tips to making their lives a little bit happier, healthier, and then make the next generation a little bit better.
Thank you. And since I'm so into sports and into fitness and into a healthy life as well, I have thousands of questions for you. But let me start by asking you, how did you get to start on this amazing journey into helping people get healthier?
That's a really good question. So, I've been in this industry for a little over 20 years. And I got into this industry when I was probably, I want to say about 19 years old. I was working out in a gym. I had just recently joined a gym. I was a dancer competitively growing up. And one of the things that I needed to do was keep my muscular tone going. And as you get a little bit, as you start to shift a little bit older, you have to learn more and grow. And I was working out in this gym, and the owner of the gym, who she's such a sweetheart, she came over and she's like, I love watching you weight train. And I said, really? And she said, yeah, I really do. Have you ever considered becoming a personal trainer? And I said, I've never considered it. but it's an interesting thought. So she's like, come to the certification that we're having. We're having it in a few months. So I went to that, and then I actually wound up in college double majoring and realizing that health and wellness as a health specialist was very similar to dance in a lot of respects, and a lot of the same science. So I went to college, and I have a couple degrees, and say la vie, 20 something years later, I'm still in the industry. I started this company 7 years ago, after working in public education for over a decade, and realizing that the next generation is not in control as much as they'd like to be. So I was working in a high school, and I realized, oh my gosh, all these teenagers have no control most of the time on their future, because their parents a lot of the time are unhealthy. The grandparents are preaching, oh, well, when you're over a certain age, like, and they hear all these stories that their parents that were telling them, that their grandparents were telling them. So I realized if I wanted to change the next generation, I had to start with the adults. I had to start with the moms and the dads and the grandparents of our society, and change their philosophy and their thought process in order to make that real change, which what I'm looking to do is to affect the next generation. And that's pretty much the shortened version of my long, ridiculous story. But I really am excited about this journey. And if you look at my logo on my website, I have it on my t-shirt. There's 3 different parts, and each part represents a certain thing that's important to me, and the value and the mission behind what we do. So the outside part of our wave is the clients and how important they are. And then we have the inside layer, which is our team. And the tiniest layer on the inside, the closest part to my heart, is family. And that family connection, why we have the swoosh of the wave, is for the journey, the life's journey, and making the journey better. And remembering that exercise, nutrition, mental wellness, they're all part of one's journey, and making sure that the journey is complete through all these pieces of health and wellness. And we need to focus on the exercise piece, being an exercise expert. My team and I help people with the exercise piece of the wellness journey, and then refer out for other things.
Wow, quite a journey, and you have quite a bit on your plate with health and wellness and fitness. And I wanted to ask you, Louis, how would you say that an ideal day would look like for someone that is ready to start changing their lives and their health? What would be the most important steps?
I think the most important step is to look at what they want out of their life. Thinking about their journey as not a destination, but a progress through time. And there's no one solution that works for everyone. For example, like one of my routines that I love in the morning is getting up and having a nice tall glass of room temperature water. And that's something that I've been doing for maybe about 10 or 15 years. And before I go to bed at night, I put my water next to my bed. By the time I wake up in the morning, it's room temperature. And I find that that's one of the routines. But for everybody, the routine might be a little bit different. The routine may be you wake up and you meditate. For some people, you might wake up and you exercise. You might wake up and you maybe say affirmations, or I call them your gratitudes, what you're thankful for. For some people, it might be praying to like the source energy or God or goddess, whatever people believe in. Every journey is a little bit different. And I think that every journey should start the way each day should start in a way that makes them most happy. And if they're not sure about that, then talking to someone who can kind of guide them through that process and look through the tools that there's thousands of tools out there, finding out which tools are going to be most effective for the toolbox.
I love that. And I love the flexibility that you offer people. They don't need to do anything specific, just test it all out, right? And
Yeah.
see which is the best one for you. And I loved our Zoom talk a while ago. I think it was around 2 months, 2 months and a half ago, when you told me that, okay, if you're not into exercising, you can do some little things around the house, like maybe just get the
Yeah.
stairs or do something that really feels like moving, like exercising, but not feeling that it's such a struggle. And about
Right.
this, Louis, I have to say that people that are watching us can see how gorgeous you are. Your skin looks amazing. Your
Thank
body
you.
is gorgeous. Can you please tell us, what do you do? What are your favorite things to do with fitness and exercising?
I keep it really, really different depending on the day. I get bored so easily. So right now you're sitting in my home gym,
I
and you
love
can see I
it.
don't have a lot of stuff, and I do podcasts and blogs, and I show people my personal space because I think people envision when they need to exercise that they need to go to a big gym. Now, big gyms are great if that's what suits your fancy, you know. But for me, I mean, I have twins that are 9 years old. I have a husband. I have a dog. I have my mother-in-law. I have a pretty sizable family. That for me, going to a gym is not time effective for me. I don't want to be approached by people that come up and ask me how I'm training or what I'm doing. I just want to be alone. I want to do what I want to do. I don't want people watching me. So for me, working out at home is a safe space. It's easy. Any time of the day, it doesn't matter. I can work out in the middle of the night if I wanted to. Not like I ever do that, but if I wanted to, I could. I can talk on the phone. I can play my music as loud as I want. There's no barrier there to what I could do when I'm home. Now, you can see I have a suspension training system. I have a half ball that's right there. I have kettles. I have this cool system that's good for pull-ups. I have, if you look up there, I have a pull-up bar. I do have a treadmill. I have an easy bar. I have a few other things that are behind you. I have adjustable dumbbells. I have an adjustable bench. I don't have a ton of stuff because the stuff, in my opinion, is just that. It's stuff. You don't need a ton of equipment to get a good workout. The best piece of equipment you have is your body. And no matter what level I mean, of course, there's certain things that I would love to be able to do at home that I can't do, but I modify in a different way so that I can still work those muscles. I'm not necessarily working them in the exact same way as I would if I had equipment, but I don't need a lot of equipment. I dance some days. I do Pilates some days. I do yoga some days. I'll go rock climbing some days. I'll go bike riding with my kids. We'll go for a run. I went for a 5K yesterday with my daughter. Um, you know, it depends on the day. I like to keep it interesting and fun. And I get bored. I'm not a structured working out type of person. I can't do the same thing over and over again. Number one, it's not good for your body if you do the same thing over and over again. So if you like have a singular routine and you do that same 10 exercises every single day, that's not good. Your body needs variety, in my opinion. But I just can't train like that. I'm bored. And I have a lot of clients that like that structure and we can train them that way. And I have a lot of clients who don't like the structure and they've never seen the same workout more than once. It really, and you can ask some of them because some of them they don't even like, some of them don't even like a repeated set. So if you did 3 sets of 10 repetitions, by the second set they're like, oh, I'm so bored. I need something different. So we change it up. And there's thousands of exercises. And if you put them together in different orders, that's kind of where we're really creative and we can be very inventive with how we put things together and using things. I have a towel hanging up over there. And you can get a killer arm workout with just a towel. Like you don't need free weights. I've had men who were so strong, and I give them my tower workout, and they're like, "How is that so hard?" Because you're using your own body's resistance. That's the thing, is that when things are done correctly, you don't need a lot of stuff. I mean, you can go, like 100 years ago, there were no gyms, there was no equipment. Yet we were, as a society, very fit. Why? What were we doing? We were outside. We were shoveling. We were doing our own lawn maintenance. We were running around with our kids. We were playing sports outside. You can be very fit without a gym. So that's my long-winded answer.
I love it. And it does make people want to start doing something for their bodies right now, not wait for Tuesday or Wednesday to go in the gym or get a subscription. Or, as you say, you like your privacy. You don't want people looking at you when you work out. You just want to do your thing whenever you want to, play the music as loud as you want to, and then go ahead and continue your day. That's awesome. Louis,
So do what makes it fun for you.
yeah, I love that. Make it
That's
fun. You
it.
don't need to struggle or to get bored,
Yeah.
as you
Yeah. I
say.
mean, again, routine is good for some people. It's not for others. Figure out what you like. And if you don't know, then talk to an expert like me. And I can ask a person in a 15-minute phone call, hey, where can we get you started? And if we can't figure it out in 15 minutes, then we do what we call an initial evaluation. That evaluation it's usually about a 60 to 75-minute appointment, and it sheds light on where people's strengths are, where their weaknesses are, what their likes are, what their dislikes are, where like their body is in balance, where it's a little bit out of balance, where it's strong, where it's not so strong, and where we can make some progress and starting steps to get them going. Because I think every step is a step. I think there's no like baby steps. I actually don't like when people say that. Oh, baby steps, baby steps. No, every step is a step. And when you make that step forward, you're going forward. And you're making laps around your other version of yourself sitting on the couch. So just keep making steps. Doesn't matter how big or small, just make a step in the right direction for this week. And then maybe next week you might feel inspired and make another step.
This is genius in its simplicity and its affordability, because you're making it so tailored to everyone's needs. Because you're so right. Maybe you have a workaholic that hasn't been taken care of their bodies too often. I know you work with companies, I know you do all sorts of trainings with employees. How do you get this guy to go outside maybe 2 hours for a drive, go back and forward to the gym? I don't think you can. But if you talk with them and see, okay, let's see what can you do with the resources that you have now. And by the way, Louis, can you please tell us, how do you deal with someone that is interested in getting healthy, but they're not too keen on exercising? What would you say to them?
I ask, well, what can you do? What can you do? What would you be willing to start with? If I gave you 3 exercises, would you start with that? And a lot of people, and again, I talk about the future. What do you see happening if you stay on the trajectory? I said this to actually a family member. I was at a wake over the weekend. A family member of mine passed away last week, and she was very young. She was 34. She has a 9-year-old, and she died because of complications with diabetes. And it's a big problem in my extended family, and it's very sad to me to see family members of mine who are, I'm a wealth of information, and to know that they struggle so much, but to realize the lack of information that they have, and depends on where you get the information. And this one family member said to me over the weekend, "Wow, everything you said makes so much sense, but it's a lot, Lois. I don't know where to start." And I said, "Well, where do you think you could start?" I said, "Can you?" And I gave him an example. And he said, "That's too much." And I said, "Well, could you?" And he said, You know what? That's doable. So I'll give options. And if the option is too much, then we back off the option. If the option is doable, let's try that. Let's see if we could do that for a week. Once you hit, make a goal, make your goals attainable, realistic, time framed, measurable. If it's all of those things, if it's strategic, right? It's something that you can do, measurable, that you can measure it. It's attainable in a reasonable amount of time. It's realistic. Like, I want to lose 50 pounds. Okay, great. How are we going to do it in ounce at a time, or 5 ounces, or 10 ounces, or 1 pound at a time? So it's doable. And within a time, in the next week, I'm going to lose a half a pound. Okay, great. Because in a year from now, that's 52 weeks. You could lose 30 something pounds. Is that future possible? Well, yeah, half a pound a week, that's possible. So in a year from now, you lost 32 pounds. How much healthier do you feel? Close your eyes, think about it. How do you feel? And I get them to the emotional component, because when they feel that emotional connection of what their future self is feeling, they're willing to make the changes of going, okay, I can get up once an hour from my desk. I can go to the bathroom farthest away from. These are some of the tips I'll give someone that is anti-exercise. Can you drink more water? Yes. Okay, great. When you drink more water, you're going to have to go to the bathroom more, right? Go to the bathroom that's farthest away from your desk. Now go back and forth twice. Do the stairs twice. Then go back to your desk, sit down, and go back to your desk. Can you do that? Yes. After a week, they feel a little bit better. What's the next goal? Can you do it 3 times? Can you do 4? Would you walk around your house once and then come back in if you're working from home? Can you go to the bathroom that's on a different floor in your building? Can you add 1 piece of broccoli to your plate? Attainable, realistic, and time frame. So I wrote a book. It's called Commit to Succeed by Getting Smart. And that book is basically a manual on how specifically to get that. So if anybody wants to get access to it, they can DM me or message me, or I can give you my contact info, and they can get a copy for like $30. It's cheap. But it gives a strategic, it gives a smart system. Smart goals, I didn't invent it. I'm not going to pretend like I did, but I invented my way of handling getting people set up for their future by doing minor things now. And once you hit a goal, you start the system over. Once you hit the goal, you start the system over. It's an attainable, realistic program that doesn't have to change everything. Because I think a lot of people, Roxy, get excited and nervous as heck when they go, but I want to drink my coffee with the creamer in it. I'm not willing to give that up. That's too big. I'm not willing to go and exercise for an hour with a personal trainer in a gym. That's too big. I'm not ready. So where are you ready? What can you do? We start there. But again, remembering that in a year from now, if you make these changes, your future self is going to be a hell of a lot better than they are right now. And the trajectory shifts, and their thought process shift, and then their next generation shifts because they shifted.
This is awesome.
It sounds easier than it is for a lot of people. And again, that's why we have a business, because what it is it's not easy. It's not easy making changes, and that's why we're a support system for those changes. And we meet people where they're at.
I love this. This is so amazing, and I'm getting excited for our listeners and the people watching us, that they can really get in touch with you. Get this ebook, Our Fearless Friends. Get in touch with Lois. You'll find all her details in the description of this. Spotify, version of our live sessions. You'll find all of her wonderful blog posts. You can see how informative and how educational she is. You do such a great job with everything that you post online, and people really have no excuse. Get in touch with Lois to find out how really easy it is to get into shape. You don't need to have major machines at home, nothing too fancy if you're not into this, but you can really do some small things. And as Louis said, just walk around the house one time before going in. And this really is something that anyone can do. Don't tell us you can't do this, because you will always find a few minutes to just move your legs a bit.
Absolutely. And the whole thought about time, I mean, I have a free, I'll drop it in the chat. There's a link that I just dropped in the chat. And it's a free kind of a setup. You know, when people say, oh, I don't have time to exercise. Come on. There's 168 hours in a week. What do you mean you don't have time? I'm not. You want to know? You want to know about no time? I'll show you my calendar, because most people, when they see my calendar, say, "How do you have time to exercise?" It's a priority. I need to. I need to. My body needs me to. My kids need me to. I need to. It's a requirement. It's not sometime like it's part of your lifestyle. And when it's part of your lifestyle and you make it a priority, it is. This is probably the biggest time suck people have. If people for 1 hour realize, track how much time you spend on this. And I challenge people with that little link that I popped in there. And again, that's just free advice. That if you follow what that says and you actually check it out, you'll be appalled at what you spend time on. You'll be appalled.
I know.
Check that. I'm not going to tell you specifically what's in there, because I want people to go check it out and take 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes, make that one little priority. You say you don't have the time to exercise, I challenge you. I challenge you to take 5 minutes and read this little post. Read it, subscribe to it, read it, and do exactly what it says. Challenge yourself for one day to do what it says in there, and I guarantee you will find the time.
I can't wait to read this myself. Because we usually are good at making excuses, saying that I wish I could, but I don't have the time. But in fact, if you make this a priority, as you say, Louis, there is literally, you can spend maybe a few minutes less on social media or do something that is not that productive for your body and your health.
Yeah. And as you see right now, I'm bouncing. I'm sitting on a ball.
This is also.
And you say, how is that a big deal? For somebody that sits all day just shifting the surface that they're sitting on. Shifting the surface. Paying attention to even one simple thing. Maybe for a half hour a day, they sit on a ball instead of sitting on a chair. I'm not saying transition and stand all day. I did not say that. I also didn't say sit on a ball all day, because your tailbone will hurt and your back will bother you and you'll probably call me complaining. So don't do that. But a little bit, a little shift. Stand a little more, sit a little less, eat a little healthier, get rid of the junk a little less. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing. That philosophy, in my opinion, is antiquated and for most people not sustainable.
It just doesn't work, because if you're used to doing something for a few years, maybe you love some junk food for 20 years, telling someone, okay, you need to quit this is actually creating so much stress in this person's body. Because I know I had this thing, Louis, for fries maybe 10 years ago, and I really wanted to go junk food free, and it didn't go too good. I needed
Yeah.
a gradual and I needed balance in my life. And about eating, can you please tell us if you believe that eating healthier or resting more or exercising more would be either of them, are is it one of them more beneficial than the other, or do we need to have a whole lifestyle balance? What are your
It
thoughts?
depends on the person. It depends on the person. Some people require certain things. Other people can eliminate completely. And again, if the goal is I am unwell, I'm a type 2 diabetic, I am this, I have heart disease, if I have high cholesterol, if I have cancer, and you're so far gone, yeah, good chance you're gonna eliminate all that garbage. If you're having it in a small quantity, I had ice cream yesterday. I had chocolate ice cream yesterday with my kids. But did I read the label? Yeah, totally did. Did I pay attention to the ingredients? I put back 3 brand names that I used to buy that I no longer do because their ingredients have changed. I will not put garbage into my body. I'd rather make it myself. And I bought more expensive brand yesterday that had 3 ingredients because 3 ingredients is okay for me. I'll eat something that's processed if it has less than 5 ingredients. And I can read every single ingredient. I'll eat it. I'm not gonna have like a bowl this big, but if I have a small cone with a serving, I find that acceptable. Now, if you talk to a dietitian or a nutritionist that believes that everybody is different and everybody can handle certain things, and if somebody has a food sensitivity to dairy, would I tell them that they should have ice cream once in a while? No, I wouldn't. Just like I wouldn't tell somebody who's on Coumadin or some kind of medication because they're on some kind of medication to eat certain food. Or if somebody's on an anti-anxiety medication, I wouldn't say you can eat a grapefruit because every situation is different. And if you don't know what situation you're in, again, those are the types of people that we can help guide them to getting the resources that they need in order to get their goals met. So, but again, everybody is different. Would I tell anybody that there's any program out there that I would not recommend? Me personally, I would never recommend a program where you're eating their food only. Never. It's only sustainable for a short period of time, and it will not be sustainable for the rest of your life. You can't go to a wedding and have a good time. You can't go to a party and have a good time because you're not going to bring your own food. Who does that? Nobody does that. That's not sustainable. You can't go to a christening on a Sunday and a party on a Saturday night and stay on that program and sustain it for the rest of your life. So I would say to people, whatever the program, can you do it for the rest of your life? Can you go to a barbecue and do it? Can you go to a wedding and do it? Can you go to the beach and do it? If the answer is yes, rock and roll, more power to you. I never said what you can and cannot do. But make the choice, and that's what it is. Make a choice. What is better for you in the long term? Do that.
Love it. Love the flexibility. And about ingredients, Louis, there are many apps. I actually have 2 apps on my phone where you can put a certain ingredient and see whether it's harmful. Now, let's face it, I have this theory that if you can't read it in one try at first, you should not eat it. It's definitely something that is not okay for your body. So, but I have to admit, sometimes I like a bit of chocolate, so I do check the ingredients to make sure that
Yeah.
it's because you can make a choice. There are thousands of brands out there, and I do take, as you say, I have this thing where I do take the product and read the label because it's these little choices in life that make us a better version of us at the end of the day. Like we say that the
100%.
small pleasures in life are what really count. Yeah, I mean, it all
Right,
adds
right.
up.
100%. And if somebody says to me, listen, I can't live without fill in the blank. Okay, have it. Do you have to have it every meal? Do you have to have it every day? No. Okay, can you cut back one day? Your future self is a happier self, most likely. Don't
100%.
have don't necessarily have to eliminate, but for some people they have to eliminate in order to get. So for people like this family member yesterday, for him, he probably, if I looked at him, like if I were to look inside his body is so angry at him. His body is screaming at him and he's not listening. And for him, yeah, he will likely die if he doesn't make some dramatic changes. But he's not willing to make those dramatic changes. So I'm like, okay, well, can you make this change? Okay. Eventually the changes may change. But he's making progress. And this version of himself that making that progress is a hell of a lot healthier than this one that's doing jack. So if they think about those, I'm like, who's getting better, this version of you or this version of you? If you make those minor changes. And he's like, this one. I said, so is it worth it to you to feel a little bit better, to add an extra month to your life that's sustainable, that you can get up and you can move around and you can watch that grandchild of yours that needs you now? Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's gonna be that shift. What does the future self look like? Are you going to get to that high school graduation that you want to see? It's not about the kid. It's about you. What are you going to miss? I'm going to miss not being able to see my grandkid graduate high school. I'm going to miss their wedding. I want to see that. They'll miss you, but it's not them that misses out. It's you that misses out. Find out what you're going to miss. And that's where you find that motivation. That's where you find that drive. Wow. I can talk about this all day. You can clearly see I'm passionate about people's wellness and their well-being. But at the end of the day, it's a choice. It's a choice to be well. It's a choice not to be well. I've said this 1,000 times and I'll say it 1,000 times more. You can make choices that are good for you, and you can also make choices that are not good for you. And that's a choice too. You can't blame time. You can't blame your kids. You can't blame your work. That's a choice too. You want to say you don't have the time? That's a choice. Because I know a lot of people that make the time. And how do they make the time? When they have kids, they have a job. Some of them have 3, 4, 5 jobs. I used to have 5 jobs when I was a teacher. I had 5 jobs and twins. And I was breastfeeding. Don't tell me about time.
Wow.
Don't tell me about time.
This is so powerful.
I can make it. You can make it.
I love this.
Totally possible. It's a choice.
This is so powerful, Lois. Wow. I mean, this is ending a podcast in style. I could listen to you for hours and hours. I have to thank you so much for this amazing wisdom that you are sharing with us. If there's one thing that is going to stick with me from now on, from this moment on, is not making a choice is a choice itself. Thank you for all of this awesome advice. I love the flexibility. I love how you tailor things to everyone. So, our fearless friends, get in touch with Lois. Once again, you'll find her details in the description below. You need someone to guide you. If you have tried all sorts of things in the past and it didn't work out, you don't need to know it all. So go to Lois, which is your expert into making sure that you have achievable, sustainable lifestyle that can truly make you feel like you are living your life, that you're happy. You don't need to make anything major, not make anything that's too big for you that can scare you and then you won't do it ever again. With Lois, it's sustainable. Lois, where can people get in touch with you? Can you please tell us as well?
So our website is fitnessknocking.com, and it's spelled like knocking on a door. So fitnessknocking.com is our website, and they can get a whole bunch of information there. They can subscribe to our newsletter, and if they want to get the access to that, don't have time to exercise, kind of like a bubble booster a little bit for some people, I'm not gonna lie, but it will surely that 5 minutes will be time much more well spent than taking your time and just liking posts on social. And if you're envious of other people's social accounts, you can guarantee you that reading that will help to change what is important. And just a quick one, I'll show you. I'm not going to put her face on, but you can say, I don't know if you can see that.
Wow.
That's 125-pound difference.
Wow.
Took her 4 years. We have lots of them. It's a choice. She chose to get that big. She also chose to get that healthy.
Love it. I love the word choice. Thank you so much, Lois. I'm sure that everyone will want to get in touch with you to at least have a short chat and maybe have this clarity that they needed to at least find out, okay, where am I in this health journey of mine? What's happening with my body? But I'm pretty sure that everyone will want to work with you as well. This has been awesome. What a pleasure.
Yeah, we do work with clients remote. We work with clients in person in New Jersey and in New York. We serve 9 counties in New Jersey. So if people are not in our territory and we're not physically able to come to them knocking on their front door in person, we've been serving clients remote for almost 7 years. So we're really good at it, and we can help you whether we can come in person or remote as well.
Thank you so much for making things so accessible. It has been such an honor, Lois. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for helping me get the word out.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. And saying bye to our YouTube friends. Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye, everybody on YouTube.
Thank you. And closing YouTube. Okay, and saying bye to our